And thank you, Mr. Secretary, for joining us today. I appreciate the time. So I'm going to bring up a little bit of old news, but you tweeted in March that the U.S. Navy had successfully escorted an oil tanker through the Strait of Hormuz to ensure oil remains flowing to the global markets. Was that true?
No, that was an error. It was not tweeted by me, but it was by my team that misunderstood something I said, but I take responsibility for it.
What did you say to the team that they misunderstood?
I gave a talk in Colorado about the state of energy and what was going on in the Strait of Hormuz. I said we will restore flows of oil to the Strait of Hormuz using the U.S. Navy if necessary.
Makes this honest mistake. But the reason I bring that up is because yesterday you just said that in the Strait of Hormuz, traffic was rising very meaningfully. Is that true? And what does meaningfully mean to you?
That is true. We are not talking overly about it, but this is using the U.S. military to increase flows of oil out of the Strait of Hormuz, and things are going well.
I'd like to talk a little bit more detail, though, at least more than the word meaningfully. Like, what would you consider meaningful? Like, are we talking about many ships? Are we talking about one ship? Because the IMF Port Watch seems to indicate that it hasn't actually increased meaningfully.
That would be incorrect. That data would be incorrect.
Okay, so you have data that shows that there's been a significant increase in the number of ships going through the Strait of Hormuz that would supply the rest of the world with oil.
That's correct.
And these are not Iranian ships. These are ships that would supply us and our allies with oil. But you can't go into detail about exactly how many or what meaningfully means. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. And then you also said that gas under $3 a gallon may not happen until next year. Do you still stand by that statement?
I shouldn't be in the business of making energy price predictions or predictions of any prices in the future. But the Strait of Hormuz will reopen, and energy flows will grow, and prices will come down.
Right. I guess, but a lot of people want to know when that's going to happen, right? And I think you said it yourself that under $3 would probably happen next year, not this year. And so I just, again, want to know what you think. Do you still stand by a statement like that?
Again, not going to engage in those predictions. I will say the policies of this administration, on balance, are going to drive the price of energy down, and the previous administration, their policies, on balance, drove the prices of energy up. So we're at least we have the forces aligned to push energy down. The only offset to that is we decided it was completely unacceptable for this Iranian regime to have a nuclear weapon, and that to achieve that mission has caused short-term disruption.
So would you agree that to get gas under $3, we need to end the Iran war?
We need to get the flow of oil fully restored through the Strait of Hormuz.
So yes, yes, you would agree that the end of the Iran war would be.
What you need is fully to have flows, uninhibited, not meaningfully inhibited flows of energy from the Strait of Hormuz. That is a necessary condition.
Okay, I'm going to move on to a different topic. So you also said that data centers lower utility bills, not raise them. Do you still stand by that statement?
Yes, on balance, they are the biggest force we have right now to stop the rise of electricity prices and ultimately to drive them down. Yes.
What if I told you that I represent more data centers than any other member of Congress, and data centers have actually doubled our energy costs? What would you think of that?
I would. They've been developed data centers in your area for a long time. So, but were data centers the driver of a doubling in the real cost of energy?
Yes.
I would say that I would say
that's going to continue to actually increase our energy costs. I can show you my utility bill, anywhere from 25% to 200% increases in our utility bills only because of data centers. And so we're not taking into consideration other increases in data center and energy costs because of other things.
The Trump administration has been in power for 16 months. The Ratepayer Protection Pledge and all the deals we have done with data centers are going to put downward pressure on electricity prices.
But isn't the Ratepayer Protection
Pledge 5 years ago or 20 years ago?
Isn't that voluntary, though? So they don't actually have to protect ratepayers unless they want to. Is that correct?
They have it is not in law yet, but I've not seen any violations of the spirit of that agreement for data center development happening during this administration.
I'll tell you why they went up is because they made us, the ratepayers, pay for the transmission infrastructure for those data centers. And so that's something that needs to be considered when you're talking about data centers. The last thing is,
I agree with that.
Do you agree that diesel generators are a solution to our electricity shortage?
They are emergency solutions, and they saved hundreds of lives in the state of Florida at the end of January. Running the backup diesel generators, absolutely. When you need them, you should run them.
They're very noisy and they're very cause a lot of pollution, and people hate them in my district too. So I'll yield back. Thank you.
Gentlemen, yield.